On July 12, 2025, the world awoke not to the gentle embrace of a new day, but to a sky ablaze. The horizon, usually painted with the soft hues of dawn, was instead violently illuminated. This wasn't the warm glow of sunrise, but a terrifying pillar of flame erupting from North Korea, piercing the darkness with an ominous intensity. This was no ordinary missile test, no routine exercise of military might. It was a blatant declaration, a calculated act of defiance hurled at the world. Kim Jong-un's regime had crossed a line drawn in the sand, a boundary of international norms and agreements. They were unveiling a new era, one shrouded in fear and fraught with uncertainty, a future hanging precariously in the balance. The ground in Pyongyang shook not just from the launch, but with the thunderous applause of pride and nationalistic fervor. But while Pyongyang celebrated, Seoul, Tokyo and Washington, D.C. trembled with a chilling premonition of what was to come. The missile's arc, a fiery streak across the heavens, was more than just a technological display. It was a carefully crafted message. It screamed a single terrifying truth. North Korea is now a nuclear power, possessing the capability to reach targets across the globe. Overnight, the established rules of engagement, the delicate balance of power, had been irrevocably changed. The threat of war, once a distant possibility, now feels uncomfortably closer than ever before. The comfortable distance, the sense of detachment from the Korean peninsula's simmering troubles has abruptly and completely vanished, leaving the world exposed and vulnerable. The world, whether it is ready or not, must now confront a new, infinitely more perilous reality. A world teetering on the brink. July 12th wasn't just the start of a new day on the calendar, it was something far more significant. It was the dawn of a more dangerous era, a time of heightened tensions and unprecedented risks. The spectre of nuclear conflict, a nightmare thought to be relegated to the history books, now looms larger and more menacingly than it has in decades, casting a long dark shadow across the globe. The missile, officially dubbed Hwasong-19, represents a significant escalation in North Korea's ballistic missile program. This new ICBM has sparked international concern and debate. It was unlike anything seen before, a behemoth of engineering, a symbol of Pyongyang's relentless pursuit of advanced weaponry. Its sheer size was a clear indication of its potential range and payload capacity. This was not just another missile test. This was a true intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, designed to reach targets across vast distances. It soared higher and farther, pushing the boundaries of North Korea's missile technology. The trajectory was carefully monitored by defense agencies worldwide. The Hwasong-19 flew further than any previous North Korean launch, demonstrating a clear advancement in range and capabilities. Ultimately, the missile landed in the Sea of Japan, a calculated demonstration of power, within striking distance of key regional players. But more than anything, this launch was about targeting the world's attention, sending a message of defiance and strength to the international community. Experts quickly realized this launch was different, because if fired on a normal trajectory instead of a lofted one, its potential range became alarmingly clear. It could reach any US city, placing the entire continental United States within striking distance. The real breakthrough, what made this launch so concerning? Solid fuel technology, a game-changing advancement in missile development. This technology allows for the missile to be ready to launch in minutes, drastically reducing warning times, making the missile nearly impossible to detect or destroy beforehand, posing a significant challenge to existing defense systems. This is a game-changer, altering the strategic landscape in a profound way, giving North Korea a credible second strike capability, enhancing its deterrent power significantly. Kim Jong-un now holds a weapon, a tool of immense power and potential destruction, a weapon that deters attack, or so he hopes, and threatens nuclear annihilation, a chilling prospect that looms over the world. The images of the missile's launch broadcast around the globe were meant to project invincibility, a display of military might intended to intimidate and impress. For Pyongyang, it's a triumph, a moment of national pride and technological achievement, but for the world it represents a leap toward catastrophe, a dangerous escalation of tensions. The Hwasong-19 is not just a weapon, it's a symbol of a changing world order. It's a warning, a stark reminder of the ever-present threat of nuclear conflict. The edge of conflict has never felt closer, and the world watches with bated breath. The Pentagon was blindsided. US intelligence had not expected North Korea to master solid-fuel ICBMs for years. The Hwasong-19's debut shattered every timeline and assumption. This colossal intelligence failure has upended decades of strategic planning. Now, US missile defenses face a weapon designed to evade and overwhelm them. The question is no longer, can we stop it? But how do we respond? The era of strategic patience is over. The threat is immediate. The nightmare scenario, an unpreventable North Korean nuclear strike, has become real. The launch exposed just how incomplete our understanding of North Korea truly is. The balance of power in the region has shifted overnight. Experts are sounding the alarm, calling this the most dangerous moment in recent history. The stakes are incredibly high, and the potential consequences are dire. Since the Cuban Missile Crisis, a time when the world stood on the brink of nuclear annihilation, the parallels are chilling, and the margin for error is razor thin. Dr. Evelyn Reed, a leading voice in international security, warns, a powerful new weapon in unpredictable hands is a recipe for disaster, a volatile mix that could ignite a global conflict. The risks are simply too great to ignore. The risk of miscalculation is now sky high. Every decision, every action is fraught with peril. The world is holding its breath, waiting to see what happens next. A crisis could escalate in minutes, spiraling out of control before anyone can react. The speed of modern warfare leaves little room for diplomacy or de-escalation. General Marcus Thorne, a veteran military strategist, says US missile defenses are based on outdated assumptions, leaving the nation vulnerable to new and evolving threats. We need to rethink our approach to national security. The Hwasong-19 is psychological warfare, a tool of intimidation designed to destabilize the region, meant to sow doubt and hesitation, to undermine confidence in our alliances and our ability to respond effectively among US and allied leaders, creating divisions and weakening our collective resolve. The greatest fear isn't deliberate war, a calculated act of aggression, but a catastrophic mistake, an unintended consequence that spirals out of control. A border skirmish, a seemingly minor incident, a false radar signal, a glitch in the system, and minutes to decide, the fate of the world hanging in the balance. This is the nightmare that keeps experts awake, the scenario they dread most. The old playbook of sanctions and negotiations is obsolete. These tools have lost their effectiveness. North Korea will not give up these weapons. They see them as essential to their survival. The world must adapt to a new, unstable reality, a world where the threat of nuclear war looms large. The whispers of war are growing louder, echoing across the globe, as the tools for peace seem smaller than ever, and the path to de-escalation remains unclear. The missile launch sent shockwaves through global diplomacy. The US called for an emergency UN meeting, but sanctions have lost their bite. North Korea's defiance exposes the limits of international power. South Korea and Japan, now under direct threat, demand stronger US guarantees. The launch is designed to divide America from its allies and spark a regional arms race. China and Russia, caught between chaos and regime collapse, face tough choices. The global balance of power has shifted. North Korea has forced its way into the nuclear club. Every negotiation now happens under the shadow of a nuclear-armed Pyongyang. The diplomatic game is more dangerous than ever. The Hwasong-19 shattered old certainties, creating a new, volatile landscape. What now? The world braces for the next move in this nuclear standoff. The US will deploy more military assets and conduct joint exercises, raising tensions further. North Korea, emboldened, may stage more missile or nuclear tests to prove its power. Kim Jong-un will negotiate from a position of strength, demanding recognition and concessions. The chance for compromise is slim. The risk of escalation is high. The most dangerous outcome: the world accepts North Korea as a nuclear state, normalizing the threat. This would legitimize nuclear blackmail and encourage other rogue states. The uneasy new normal is fraught with peril. The world is cornered, with no easy way out. Every path forward is shadowed by danger. The Hwasong-19's launch is a turning point, a theoretical threat made real. Decades of non-proliferation efforts have failed. The nuclear genie is out of the bottle. Other nations are watching, and the risk of a new arms race is real. The danger of nuclear war by accident or miscalculation is higher than in generations. World leaders must now manage a crisis with no margin for error. The survival of cities and civilization hangs in the balance. This is not just a problem for diplomats and generals, but for all humanity. The fire over North Korea is a wake-up call. Peace is fragile and the nuclear threat has returned. We ignore this warning at our own peril. The world has changed and the shadow of nuclear conflict is here to stay.